The alarm started with a low beep that turned into a wailing shriek. Colonel Nathan Brooks was in the command center of Kepler Station when it happened. He sat at his desk reviewing reports when the first alert came through. Ships. Many ships. They did not announce themselves. They did not ask for permission to enter human space. They simply came. Nathan stood up fast. His coffee cup fell on the floor and broke into pieces. He did not care about the coffee. Around him, 20 officers moved to their stations. The screens lit up with red dots. Each dot meant a ship. Each ship meant weapons. Each weapon meant danger. How many? Nathan asked. His voice was calm. Inside, his stomach felt like it was turning itself inside out. 214, Lieutenant James Cooper said. His hands moved over the keyboard. More numbers appeared. They are spreading out across all human colonies. Not just here, everywhere. The Kepler station housed 10,000 people. 2,000 of them were children. Nathan thought of his daughter Emma right away. She was in school. She was always in school during this time of day. She was safe. But for how long? Can we fight them? Nathan asked. No, James said. Our weapon systems are old. Their ships are bigger. Their shields are better. We cannot hurt them. We cannot stop them. Nathan made a choice. It was the hardest choice of his life, but he made it fast. He opened the communication channel to Earth. The signal would take time to reach home. That was the problem with space. Distance killed communication. But he sent the message anyway. This is Colonel Nathan Brooks at Kepler Station. We are under attack by unknown hostile forces. They are attacking all human colonies. This is not a test. Send everything we have. Send it now. He closed the channel and waited. There was nothing else to do. The ships came closer. The children of Kepler Station did not know anything was wrong. Emma Brooks sat in her classroom with 20 other kids. Her teacher, Ms. Patricia Walsh, was teaching them about the planets of the solar system. Emma liked learning about planets. She wanted to be an explorer when she grew up. She wanted to see things no human had ever seen before. Then the lights went out. The emergency lights came on right after. Everything turned red. Emma heard the alarm. It was not a drill alarm. She had heard drill alarms before. This was different. This was real. Ms. Walsh tried to keep the children calm. Everyone stay in your seats, she said. Everything is going to be fine. But Ms. Walsh's hands were shaking. Emma could see that. Emma was smart. She could tell when adults were lying. Adults always lied when things were bad. They said everything would be fine when it would not. The door to the classroom opened. But it was not a teacher. It was not security. It was something else. Something that was not human. The creature was tall. It had skin that was gray like metal. It had 6 arms instead of 2. Its eyes were big and black and empty. It looked at the children and did not blink. Miss Walsh put herself in front of the children. You cannot have them, she said. They are children. You cannot take children. The creature made a sound. It was not a voice. It was something between a click and a buzz. Other creatures like it came into the room. They wore suits that had red lights on them. The lights meant weapons. Come, the creature said. Its English was bad. The words came out rough and wrong. Come with us. You will be taken care of. No harm. No, Ms. Walsh said again. You cannot have them. The creature made another sound. A beam of light came from its weapon. Ms. Walsh fell down. She did not move after that. The children screamed. Emma screamed too. But she could not move. She was too scared to move. A creature grabbed her arm. Its grip was cold and hard. It was like being held by a machine made of ice. She tried to pull away. She could not. She was not strong enough that the creatures took all the children. They took them from their school. They took them from their homes. They took them from their families. They put them in containers and moved them to their ships. The children cried and called for their parents. Nobody came. Nobody could come. Nobody could stop them. Nathan Brooks ran through the station like a crazy man. He ran to the school. He ran to the housing blocks. He ran to the evacuation centers. He was looking for Emma. He had to find Emma. He had to get her back. He had to protect her. But when he got to the school, he found Miss Patricia Walsh. She was lying on the floor. She was not moving. She was not breathing. Nathan checked for a pulse, but he already knew. She was gone. He looked at the classroom. It was empty. All the children were gone. Emma was gone. Nathan fell to his knees. Something inside him broke. It was not his body that broke. It was something deeper. Something that made him human. A father's need to protect his child. A father's rage when that child was taken. He stood up slow. His face was hard now. His mind was clear. He thought about all the children on this station. 3,000 children were on Kepler Station. All of them were gone now. Taken by aliens who did not care about them. Aliens who saw them as things to take, not people to respect. He walked to the communication center. He sent another message to Earth. This one was different. This one was not a warning. It was a demand. To Earth Command. All of you, listen to me. They took our children. 3,000 on this station alone. Thousands more on the other colonies. We do not know why. We do not know what they want with them. But I know what we have to do. We have to bring them back. We have to bring all of them back. And we have to make sure nobody ever does this again. Send the fleet. Send everything. Send everyone. We are not asking for peace anymore. We are asking for war. He closed the channel. Then he looked at the images on the screens. The alien ships were leaving. They had what they wanted. They had the children, but they did not have humanity's full answer yet. They did not know what a human would do when you took their children away. They had made a terrible mistake, and they would learn that very soon. Nathan Brooks promised himself something in that moment. He promised that he would see his daughter again. He promised that every child would come home. He promised that the species that took them would understand the cost of what they had done. The alien ships jumped into hyperspace. They were gone, but their war was just beginning. The news spread across Earth like fire. Every person on every continent saw it. Every human in every colony heard it. The Galactic Council took our children. Not some of them. All of them. Thousands of children stolen from their families. Taken to places unknown for reasons nobody understood. The response was immediate. It was not anger. Anger was a small word for what humanity felt. It was a flood of pure rage that moved like a weapon through the entire species. Mothers wept and then joined the army. Fathers left their jobs and walked into recruiting centers without being asked. Children wanted to fight. Old people wanted to fight. Everyone wanted to fight. General Marcus Hayes sat in the war room on Earth. Screens showed him everything. Colony reports came in every minute. The numbers got worse as each report arrived. 5,000 children gone from Mars colony. 8,000 from Venus station. 6,000 from the Jupiter bases. The list kept growing. How many total? Marcus asked. 42,387, his assistant said. The numbers were so big, they did not sound real anymore. And the final reports are still coming in from the outer colonies. Marcus was old. He had fought in wars before. He had seen death and pain. But he had never seen anything like this. This was not a political conflict. This was not about territory or resources. This was about something primal. This was about the future of the human race. He picked up his phone. "Get me Captain Lisa Morrison. I need her now." Lisa Morrison was the best shipbuilder humanity had. She had designed most of the military fleet. She knew how to make weapons. She knew how to make ships that could fight and win. But she had never had to work fast like this. When the news came to her, she was at the shipyard on Mars. She was checking on a new transport vessel. It was a boring job. Just another day of making sure parts fit together right. Then someone ran to her with a tablet. "You have to see this," the person said. Lisa looked at the screen. She saw the reports. She saw the numbers. She saw a picture of a child. Not her child. Not yet. But it could have been. Her son Gregory was 8 years old. He was at school when the attack happened. She did not know if he was safe. She called his school. The principal answered. The line was silent for a long time. "He was taken," the principal said. "I am sorry." "He was taken with the others." Lisa dropped the tablet. She fell to her knees. Everything inside her wanted to scream and cry and destroy things. But she was strong. She was a mother. And a mother does what needs to be done. She stood up. She called General Marcus Hayes directly. He answered right away. "I want to build warships," she said. "Real warships. Tell me what we need, and I will make them. I will make enough to take our children back." Marcus told her everything. He told her about the alien technology. He told her what the sensors showed. He told her that the enemy had superior weapons and bigger ships. He told her that they probably could not win. "Then we will die trying," Lisa said. "Build me a fleet. We will bring our children home or die in the attempt. There is no other choice." Across human space, military bases started moving. Ships that were old and slow were taken to shipyards. New ships were being built at a speed that had never been possible before. Workers stayed awake for days without rest. They did not want to rest. They could not rest. Their children were gone. The aliens, on the other hand, were not worried. The Galactic Council met in their great station. The council members were huge creatures from 7 different species. They had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They had never lost a war. They had never met a species that could match their power. "The humans are making ships," one council member said. It was a being called the Observer. It had no body, just a collection of floating crystals held together by gravity. "Let them make ships," another said. This one was called Void. It was a massive creature with teeth the size of human hands. "They cannot hurt us. Their weapons are nothing. Their technology is nothing. They are nothing. The humans are very fast," the Observer said. "Fast for such a young species." "Speed does not matter," Void said. "What matters is power. And we have all the power." None of the council members were worried. They did not know humans. They had never fought humans. They had decided humans were weak because humans had always obeyed. They had assumed humans would accept the taking of their children because humans were afraid of the council's power. They were wrong. General Marcus Hayes developed a plan. It was not a normal plan. It would not win using ships and weapons in the old way. It would win using something that humans had that the aliens did not. It would win using human speed, human thinking, and human desperation. He called his best commanders together. He told them the plan. Some of them did not believe it would work, but they all agreed to try, because there was nothing else to do. Captain Lisa Morrison worked harder than she had ever worked. She slept 2 hours a day. She ate food that was cold and bad. She did not care. She was building the fleet that would bring her son home. She was building the fleet that would bring all the children home. The ships came off the lines faster and faster. New designs that had never been tested. Weapons that were unusual. Shields that were weaker than normal but covered more area. Every ship was a gamble. But there was no time to test. There was no time to be careful. They had to move now. In the military bases. Soldiers trained day and night. They learned new tactics. They learned how to fight in ways that the aliens would not expect. They learned that a smaller, faster, thinking enemy could defeat a larger, stronger enemy if the smaller enemy refused to give up. Mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters joined the military. They filled the ranks faster than any recruiting officer expected. Some had no training. Some had no experience. But they all had one reason to be there. They had a child they loved. They had someone they wanted to bring home. 3 months later, the fleet was ready. It was not the biggest fleet. It was not the most advanced. But it was filled with humans who would rather die than fail. It was a fleet with a reason to fight that was stronger than any weapon. It was a fleet made from love and rage. General Marcus Hayes looked at the ships lined up in the void. He thought about the children. He thought about Gregory, Lisa's son. He thought about Emma, Nathan's daughter. He thought about 42,387 children who were counting on them. He gave the order. Jump to hyperspace. We go to bring our children home. We go to war. The human fleet came out of hyperspace at 3 different points. They came fast. They came without warning. They came with weapons hot and shields up. The Galactic Council's military command did not see them coming until they were already there. General Marcus Hayes watched the screens in the main command ship. The battle started in seconds. Human weapons fired at Council installations. The Council ships tried to respond, but the humans were faster. Much faster. The Council's technology was old. It was powerful, but it was slow. The humans thought quick. They moved fast. They did not fight like any species the Council had ever fought before. The first station fell in 15 minutes. Human soldiers landed on it and took control. They did not waste time on old weapons. They did not care about the resources in the station. They only cared about one thing. Looking for the children, Colonel Nathan Brooks led his strike team toward the main detention center. This was the largest holding facility. If the children were anywhere, they would be here. He moved with 50 soldiers. They were fast. They were ready to kill. They would kill anyone who got in their way. They found soldiers guarding the detention center. Not human soldiers. Council soldiers. These were creatures bred for war. They were strong and fast and had weapons that could cut through steel. The human soldiers should have been afraid. They were not. They had something stronger than fear. They had purpose. The fighting was fast and brutal. The Council soldiers were better trained. They were stronger. But the humans hit harder. They did not follow patterns. They did not retreat when they should have retreated. They pushed forward no matter what. 3 human soldiers died before they got through the first door. Nathan did not slow down. He did not stop. He pushed forward. Inside the detention center, they found horror. The children were in cages. Not like animals. Like things. Like objects that did not matter. The cages were cold and gray. There was no light. There was barely any food. The children were crying and sick and scared. Many of them had wounds. Some of them were unconscious. And there was more in the back of the center. There was a laboratory. Nathan saw it through the glass doors. He saw tables with children on them. He saw needles. He saw instruments. He saw monitors showing data about the children's bodies. The Council was experimenting on them. Nathan felt something inside him snap. It was like a chain breaking. It was like a wall falling down. He understood in that moment why they had taken the children. Not for any good reason. Not for any reason that made sense. They had taken them because they wanted to study human biology. They wanted to understand human genes. They wanted to take what made humans special and use it for themselves. "Get them out," Nathan said. His voice was low and quiet. "Get every child out of this place now." His soldiers moved fast. They got children out of cages. They picked up the unconscious ones. They moved them toward the ships. Some children were so weak they could not walk. Soldiers carried them. Some children did not recognize them as helpers. They were too scared. The soldiers were gentle anyway. They knew these children had been through something terrible. Nathan went into the laboratory. He found a council scientist there. It was a tall creature with arms that bent in too many places. It was working at a monitor. It was studying data about human children. It did not look up when Nathan came in. "Step away from the monitor," Nathan said. The creature turned. It looked at Nathan. It saw a human soldier with a weapon. It was not impressed. "You cannot be here," the creature said. "These children are council property. They must be returned." Nathan did not argue. He did not waste words. He pointed his weapon at the monitor and fired. The monitor exploded into pieces. The data was gone. All the research was gone. All the notes about the children were gone. The creature made a sound that was like a scream. It tried to run at Nathan. Nathan was faster. His weapon fired once. The creature fell. Nathan did not feel anything about that. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Just nothing. Just emptiness. He walked back into the holding area. His soldiers had gotten most of the children out. There were maybe 100 left. They came in all sizes. Some were very young. Some were teenagers. All of them looked broken. A girl came up to Nathan. She was maybe 6 years old. She had dark hair and dirt on her clothes. She looked at his uniform. She looked at his weapon. "Are you a soldier?" she asked. "Yes," Nathan said. "Are you here to take us home?" She asked. Nathan knelt down. He looked at this girl who had been stolen from her family. He looked at her and saw Emma. He saw all the children. "Yes," he said. "I am here to take you home. I promise." The girl took his hand. They walked together toward the ships. Meanwhile, back on the command ship, General Marcus Hayes was in contact with the human government. A diplomat named Sarah Logan was trying to send a message to the Galactic Council. She needed them to understand that this war was about the children. She needed them to know that if they gave the children back, it could end. She sent her message. "This is Diplomat Sarah Logan of the human species. I speak for all humans. Return all of our children now. Do this and we will leave. We will return to human space. This war can end if you return what you took." The answer came back fast. The Galactic Council did not even debate it. The response was simple. "The children are council property. You will surrender your fleet or we will destroy you." Sarah Logan closed her eyes. She had known this would not work. But she had to try. Now there was nothing left but war. She told General Marcus the council's response. "Then we keep fighting," Marcus said. "We get our children, and we destroy enough of their military that they never do this again. This is not about territory. This is not about respect. This is about bringing home what is ours." The battle expanded across 3 sectors. The human fleet was winning. Not because they had better weapons, because they had better reasons. Every soldier was fighting for someone specific. Every soldier had a child's face in their mind. Every soldier would rather die than go back without them. The council's commanders started to realize something. This species, this human species, was not fighting to win. They were fighting to survive. They were fighting with a desperation that no technology could match. They were fighting with something ancient and powerful. They were fighting with love, and love, it turned out, was stronger than power. The war spread across the stars like fire spreading across dry land. Human ships fought council ships in 14 different systems. The battles lasted for hours, sometimes for days. The human fleet was smaller and weaker, but they never stopped fighting. They never retreated. They never surrendered. Captain Lisa Morrison was in the main battle above the planet Zephyr 7. Her ship was taking damage. Sections of it were blown open. Air was leaking into space. People were dying, but her weapons kept firing, because somewhere on the planet below, human children were prisoners. "Status report," Lisa said. Her voice did not shake. She had trained too hard for her voice to shake. "We lost the port side shield," her assistant said. "We cannot take another hit like that." "Then do not let them hit us again," Lisa said. "Move the ship. Fire forward cannons. Do not stop until I tell you to stop." The ship moved. It was a dance. A dance between her ship and the council warship that was trying to destroy it. Lisa had built this ship. She knew its weaknesses and its strengths. She moved it like it was part of her body. The council ship was bigger and stronger, but it was slow. The human cannon fire hit the council ship's reactor chamber. The council ship exploded. Fire bloomed in the darkness of space. Lisa did not cheer. There was no time for cheering. There were more ships coming. Below, on the planet, human soldiers fought their way toward the detention facilities. The council had moved many children to this planet. They thought the gravity well would keep humans out. They thought the atmosphere would make fighting hard. They were right about the atmosphere. It was hard to fight in. The gravity was wrong. Everything was heavier. Every movement took more effort. But humans had learned to fight in hard places. Humans had evolved on a world that was harsh and dangerous. This planet was nothing compared to Earth. Humans took that hardship and turned it into strength. Commander Stephen Price led a group of 200 soldiers through the jungle. The jungle was thick and strange. Alien plants tried to kill them. Alien creatures attacked them. But the soldiers kept moving. They moved toward the signal that told them children were nearby. "How much further?" Stephen asked. His body was tired. His mind was sharp. 2 kilometers, his sensor operator said. "The detention center is just past those mountains." Stephen nodded. 2 kilometers. They had fought through 100 of them so far. 2 more kilometers was nothing. He had fought through worse for less important reasons. This time, he was fighting for children, for innocent people who had done nothing wrong. That made every kilometer worth it. The council forces tried to stop him. They sent soldiers to block his path. These were not the weak creatures from the first detention center. These were real soldiers, bred for war, trained to fight. Heavy with weapons and armor. The 2 groups met in a valley. The fighting was close and personal. The council soldiers were stronger, much stronger. They could lift things humans could not lift. They could run faster in the heavy gravity, but they could not think as fast. They could not adapt as fast. When one council soldier fell, humans found a way around them. When a human was surrounded, others came to help. The council soldiers fought alone. Humans fought together. Stephen Price was in the middle of the fight. He saw a council soldier moving toward his people. The soldier had a weapon that could cut through armor. It had already killed 2 humans. Stephen did not think. He ran at the soldier. The council soldier hit Stephen. It was like being hit by a train. Stephen flew backward. But he got back up. He got back up because there was no choice. He got back up because children were counting on him. He came at the soldier again. This time, he had a different plan. He did not try to fight strength with strength. He used speed. He was inside the soldier's reach before it could react. He used a blade that cut through the joints in the soldier's armor. The soldier fell. Stephen kept fighting. His body hurt. His mind told him to stop. He did not stop. He could not stop. Not yet. The human soldiers won the fight. They lost 40 people. But they reached the detention center. What they found made them sick. The children here had been moved to a medical facility. The council was doing experiments on them. Real experiments. Not the kind to study them. The kind to change them. To make them different. To take their human nature away. Stephen found a command officer working in the facility. The officer was making notes about the experiments. Stephen wanted to kill him right there. But he did not. He took him prisoner instead. He wanted this officer to face justice. He wanted him to understand what he had done. The children were scared of their rescuers at first. They had been in the facility for so long that they did not remember what rescue looked like. But the soldiers were gentle with them. The soldiers picked them up and held them. The soldiers told them they were going home. General Marcus Hayes sat on his ship and watched the reports come in. System after system was being liberated. The council's grip on the children was weakening. But the council was not giving up. They were sending more ships. More soldiers. "We cannot sustain this," his assistant told him. "Our ships are damaged. Our soldiers are tired. We have lost 3,000 people. If the council sends more ships, we might not be able to hold on." Marcus nodded. He had expected this. He had known the council would not back down easily. They had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They did not know how to surrender, but then something changed. One of the council's oldest members made a decision. This member was called the Watcher. It had lived for 3,000 years. It had seen many wars. It had never seen anything like this. The Watcher went to the council chamber. It spoke to all of them. "We are losing," the Watcher said. "Not because of their weapons. Because of their will. This species, humans, they will not stop. They will burn their own ships. They will sacrifice their own people. They will do anything to get their children back. That is a force we have never faced." "They are nothing," Lloyd said. "We are more powerful." "Power does not matter," the Watcher said. "Desperation matters. Love matters. This species loves their young more than they love their own lives. We cannot fight that. We cannot win against that." The council members argued. But the Watcher had spoken truth. The human fleet was smaller. The human soldiers were fewer. But they would not stop. They would fight until every child was free or until every human was dead. And the council realized something terrible. The humans would win, not because they were stronger, because they were willing to lose everything, because the children were everything. On the orbital station above the main detention center, Nathan Brooks fought his way through council defenders. He had only 30 soldiers with him now. 20 more had died getting this far. But he could see the detention center. He could see the children through the VIEWPO. Emma was down there. His daughter was down there. He could feel it. And he was going to bring her home or die trying. The council soldiers came at him. Nathan did not hesitate. He fired. He moved forward. He did not stop. Behind him, his soldiers did the same. They were not trained to stop. They were trained to move forward until the mission was complete. The final council soldier fell. Nathan ran to the detention center doors. They were sealed, but there was a manual override. Nathan triggered it. The doors opened, and there she was. Emma was not the same girl Nathan had last seen. She was thinner. She had a scar on her arm. Her eyes were older now. She had seen things no 8-year-old should see. But when she recognized her father, something came back to her. Something human. Something that had survived the Council's captivity. "Dad?" she said. Her voice was small and scared. Nathan picked her up. He held her against his body. He could feel her heart beating against his chest. She was alive. She was here. She was real. "I am here," he said. "I am here and we are going home." Emma started to cry. She cried like she had held it inside for too long. She cried because she was scared. She cried because she was alive. She cried because her father had found her. Nathan carried her and walked deeper into the detention center. There were other children here. Hundreds of them. Some were conscious. Some were not. His soldiers carried them. They moved them toward the ships. They moved fast because the station was breaking apart. The human weapons had damaged it badly. The core was overheating. The whole place was dying. But they had enough time. They had maybe 15 minutes before everything collapsed. They had enough time to get the children out on every colony, in every detention center, on every station. The same thing was happening. Human soldiers were getting children out. Human ships were carrying them away. The Galactic Council's plan had failed completely. Every child was being rescued. Every single one. General Marcus Hayes sent one more message to the Council. This time, it was not a question. It was a statement. "We have taken back our children. We have destroyed your detention centers. Your military installations are burning. You took what you should never have taken. Now you see the result. Now you understand what you have done. The war is over when you say it is over. We will accept nothing less than complete withdrawal from human space and a promise never to harm humans again. Refuse and we burn your worlds." The council members heard this message in their great chamber. Void wanted to keep fighting, but the Watcher stopped them. "No," the Watcher said. "We have already lost. The only question is how much more we will lose. Let them have their children. Let them leave. Let us survive." Void argued. The other council members argued. But the Watcher was right. They were beaten. Not by superior weapons. By superior will. By a species willing to fight to extinction for their children. The order came down. All council forces were to stand down. All human prisoners were to be released. All human space was to be vacated immediately. The war was over. The human fleet began the journey home. The ships were damaged. Some were barely flying. But they were carrying 42,387 children. They were carrying the future of humanity. Nathan Brooks stood in a medical bay and watched his daughter sleep. She was on a medical bed. Doctors were checking her over, making sure the council had not done permanent damage. Emma was okay. Weak and traumatized, but okay. She would heal. She would grow up. She would have a life. Across the fleet, other parents were reunited with their children. Lisa Morrison held her son Gregory. He was crying and laughing at the same time. He did not understand where he had been. He only understood that his mother had found him. Captain Stephen Price sat next to a boy who had been in the detention center with him. The boy was sleeping. Stephen had taken care of him during the return journey. The boy had no family coming to meet him. Stephen had decided to change that. Stephen had decided to adopt him. When the fleet jumped into the home system, billions of humans waited. They waited on Earth. They waited on Mars. They waited on every colony and every station. They waited for their children to come home. The first ship landed on Earth. Military personnel opened the cargo doors. And children came out. Children who had been stolen. Children who had been experimented on. Children who had somehow survived. The crowd that had come to meet them was silent. The silence lasted for a long moment. Then it broke. Mothers screamed their children's names. Fathers ran forward. Grandparents wept. The sounds filled the sky. The sounds of pain and joy mixed together. The sounds of people who had lost something precious and had somehow gotten it back. The Galactic Council faced the results of their mistake. Species that had trusted them for 10,000 years now questioned everything. The humans, a young species that had existed in space for only 300 years, had defeated them, had shown them that their power meant nothing if their enemies would not surrender. The Council changed after that. It became something different. It became a body that respected all species. It became a body that listened to smaller voices, because it had learned that smaller species could be dangerous. More dangerous than any power they had ever faced. Humanity earned a seat on the Council. A real seat with real power. But more than that, humanity earned respect. They earned it not through superior technology. They earned it through their willingness to burn the stars for their children. Nathan Brooks retired from military service. He went to Earth to live with his daughter. Anna was still scared sometimes. She still had nightmares. But she was healing. She was growing. She was becoming the explorer she had wanted to be. Lisa Morrison returned to her shipyards. But now she built different ships. Ships for exploration. Ships for trade. Ships for peace. The fleet she had built for war would never be needed again. And she was glad that General Marcus Hayes received medals and honors. But he did not care about those things. He cared about the fact that he had kept his promise. He had brought the children home. Across all human space, a new generation of children grew up knowing one thing. Knowing that there were limits. Knowing that you could not take what was ours without consequences. Knowing that humanity would fight for its own. Not with words, not with negotiation, but with weapons and determination and love. The Galactic Council had underestimated humans. They had thought humans were weak because humans saw peace. They did not understand that peace and strength are not opposites. They did not understand that a peaceful species can become the most dangerous force in the galaxy if you give them a reason to fight. Humanity had burned across the stars. Humanity had shown the galaxy what they were made of. And the galaxy had learned. Never take a human's child. Never threaten a human's family. Never believe that any species will not fight for their young. Nathan Brooks stood on Earth and looked at the sky. Somewhere out there, the Galactic Council was rebuilding. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was returning to normal. But things would never be the same. Humanity had left its mark, and that mark would never fade. His daughter Emma came and stood beside him. She was still healing. She would always be healing. But she was alive. She was home. She was safe. "Dad," she said, "are we going to be okay?" Nathan took her hand. He looked at his daughter. He thought about all the soldiers who had died bringing children home. He thought about all the families that had lost someone. He thought about the price that had been paid. "Yes," he said, "we are going to be okay. We are humans. And humans do not give up. We do not surrender. We bring our children home." Emma nodded. She believed her father, because her father had proven it. All of humanity had proven it. The sun set on Earth. The stars came out. Somewhere in that darkness, a message traveled through the galaxy. A message that every species understood. A message that said humanity was awake. Humanity was strong. Humanity would protect its own, and the galaxy learned to respect that.